Hello and hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing? So, of course, that semi-disastrous meeting with Trump and Merz went down the other day, which I find totally fascinating. The whole thing is just fascinating to me, with how much I try to keep up on Germany and stuff. It's all just very interesting. So I see that DW News, check them out, link down below, small and up-and-coming YouTube channel, did an interview, a post-game interview with Merz about the meeting. So I'm hoping he spills some tea on what happened during the meeting, some stuff that we didn't see on camera. Maybe he gives his take on Donald Trump's stupid shit that he said during that interview, or not interview, but that press meeting, where he said that, D-Day was a bad day for you, huh? That type of shit. I'm just really curious to see this post-game interview right here. Who are these guys, like Men in Black? Like, what is this? I think these are fake decoy security. Look at them. They're literally acting. They're actors. They're pretending to be security. The real security's up here in the trees. Let's do it.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz is with me now. You're coming straight from...
Oh, you know what? I want to hear her say his name again, because it's probably the most accurate I've ever heard it pronounced.
Merz is with me now. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz is with me.
Friedrich. Oh, man. Friedrich. I don't even know if I can say that. Friedrich. Can I just call him Friedrich? Fred?
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz is with me now. You're coming straight from your first in-person meeting with Donald Trump. You clearly had a rapport there, but you had an in-detail meeting with him afterwards. Did you get any...
Okay, so weirdly, their meeting is after the press. I wish they did it the other way around. I don't get why do they do the press conference before the meeting? I want to see it after the meeting, but at least I'm getting this. Because I want to know what they talked about,
concrete commitments on Ukraine after you reminded him...
Let me go back a little.
With him afterwards. Did you get any concrete commitments on Ukraine after you reminded him that the United States will make the difference there?
Indeed, we talked intensively about several issues. One of those was Ukraine and this terrible war on Ukraine from Russia. We talked about trade and tariffs.
Yes, from Russia. It's not just you found two little kids fighting on the playground and you have no idea who started it. It's obviously an invasion from Russia. I guess you reminded him of that. I mean, obviously he's been reminded of... He should know that. And he does know that. He's just being stupid.
We talked about trade and tariffs. Ukraine from Russia. We talked about trade and tariffs. This was not...
That sounds like kind of a no to me, as far as if you're getting a direct answer to her question. Like, was he able to persuade Trump on any kind of commitment to Ukraine beyond what's already being done? Sounds like not really. Which is, I don't know what you can expect.
My expectation to move today the president to a new decision. But I argued and I tried to convince him that we are now together in the duty to put more pressure on Russia to come to an end of this war. But on the other hand, I know that this is a very complicated issue. Even here in the U.S., we are having this strong debate in the Senate. I'm optimistic, but I'm not so optimistic to predict that this will now change overnight something on the territory of Ukraine.
I do think it's good, and I'm glad that Merz came here and was able to apply some pressure to Trump in that direction,
Donald Trump indeed also spoke of Russia and Ukraine potentially running out of patience and that he would...
I'm sorry, but look at these guys in the back. They got those at the Halloween store. It's not real. I'm just kidding. No, you guys look good. If you guys are watching, I'm just kidding. It's just a extremely stereotypical looking security, like pose and the glasses. It's pretty cool, honestly. But it's distracting me, I'm not going to lie. Okay, focus.
Of Ukraine.
Donald Trump indeed also spoke of Russia and Ukraine potentially running out of patience, and that he would be willing to hit either of them very hard. How close is your sense, is he, to running out of patience over Ukraine?
Well, he is seeing that his several initiatives of the last weeks did not succeed, and that President Putin is obviously not willing to stop this war, even though they had a very long phone call only yesterday. So we are talking about instruments, what we can do jointly between the European Union, with Germany and America on this side of the Atlantic.
I will add to that, I think he's kind of alluding to this, like Donald Trump actually might be losing patience with Putin, thankfully, hopefully, you know what I mean, as opposed to Zelensky, because obviously Putin did a big attack in Kyiv, and Trump was like, what are you doing? So I don't know. Maybe that's a little too optimistic, but I hope that's the case.
I don't have an answer today, but I'm sure that he is thinking about what he could do more. And I reminded him that America always was in charge globally to put pressure on those who are going to war. And it's the 6th of June tomorrow, so-called D-Day, when the Americans invaded Europe to stop the war in Europe.
I think that is actually a talking point that speaks well to Trump. You know, it's kind of like Trump, like America is supposed to be the good guy, supposed to be the, he's kind of speaking to the American ideals, what Trump wants America to be like. Yeah, like you're right. Like America is supposed to be this amazing superpower that, fights for what's right. Which is probably how Trump wants America to be perceived. So I think that's smart of him.
In 1944, this could be a similar historic situation, not with military actions, but with pressure on Russia to end this war.
And he clearly appreciated that historic reference. Trade was the other sticking point. He keeps saying that he loves tariffs. Few else do, not even the U.S. markets. How close is he to feeling pressure that this could also harm the United States?
Well, we are working within a very tight time schedule. We would like to see an agreement within the next couple of weeks. We still have some...
I feel like I've been hearing that for months at this point, but that would sure be nice.
Time until beginning of July. This is the deadline the American government has set. This is an issue which is not just on the German side to be resolved. We have to coordinate that within the European Union. We are doing that. I will go back to Europe and talk to my European colleagues on that. And we are trying to make proposals how to overcome the situation. High tariffs is not in our interest, and I'm trying to convince the US government, especially the president, that we should come to a solution, but this will take a while.
How will you measure whether this meeting made a real difference?
I just had to say about the tariffs. I mean, I don't know. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you've already heard me blab about the tariffs enough. But, it's just stupid. But also, in particular, putting tariffs on other Western countries with the same kind of, with even better workers' rights and stuff, like you guys are the ones that, if anything, need more protection, considering, you actually pay your workers higher wages on average. I guess that depends. We're talking about Europe, which is a whole continent, so maybe in some countries not as much as others, but in general, it's difficult to compete, obviously, with countries like China, who don't have to pay their workers a decent wage. And so if you want to talk about tariffs in that regard, like that's one thing. But tariffs on Europe and Germany, it's just stupid, in my opinion. Just stupid.
I will measure that with regular meetings and phone calls and concessions on both sides. and the willing to have an agreement. And this is my takeaway from today. He is really willing to have an agreement on trade. And if we could achieve that within a...
You know, he probably actually is at this point. He's got so much pressure from the stock market and the bond market to where I think he is kind of getting desperate for a agreement on trade. The longer Europe holds out, honestly, probably the better deal you guys are going to get.
Foreseeable period of time, we would have achieved much more than former governments on both sides of the Atlantic did. So this is a real great opportunity.
Just finally, you have the same first name, Friedrich, as the grandfather of the US president. You gave him a facsimile of the birth certificate. So overall, is this a new friendship? Is this a transatlantic
Trump said so. Merz is his only friend, according to Trump.
Romance even?
No.
If you watch the full interview, Trump is like, I don't have friends. I have business partners. Except you, Merz. You're my friend.
It's a
Or is this a new friendship? Is this a transatlantic bromance even?
no.
Is that really a question? That's the question. Is this a bromance? What kind of question is that?
Atlantic bromance even?
No, it's a very close cooperation. We met for the first time ever today in our capacities as leaders.
And yeah, they just went on their first date. How can it be a bromance? Not yet.
And I very much hope that we will be able to cooperate closely, openly, and with good colleagues from both sides of the Atlantic.
Chancellor Merz, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alrighty. That was a good interview. I like Merz. You know, I mean, I know that he's like, y'all don't necessarily like him. Some do, some don't, whatever, you know, but overall, and I'm not even talking about his politics, I'm just talking about him. I like his demeanor. He seems straightforward. He seems diplomatic. He seems kind. Very impressed with Merz, one of the few adults in the room with a sound intellect. All right, that was good. That was really good. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.